The Great Hall of the Galactic Congress had not seen such activity in over 500 years. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the massive chamber, all talking at once about the same topic: what to do about the humans. Admiral Young-Soo Han stood at the center of the hall, remarkably calm for someone whose species had just turned galactic civilization upside down. Around him, alien delegates argued, pleaded, and demanded answers about humanity's military capabilities. "Order! Order!" shouted the Congress speaker, a tall blue-skinned alien named Veltar. "Admiral Han has agreed to address our questions. Please allow him to speak." Young-Soo Han stepped forward to the central podium. His voice carried clearly through the chamber's translation system. "Honorable delegates, I understand your concerns. Humanity's recent conflicts with the Empire have created uncertainty about our intentions and capabilities." "Uncertainty?" interrupted Ambassador Zixel of the Kalani Trade Federation. "Admiral, your species destroyed the Empire's entire battle fleet with what you called a local defense force. We need to know, what is humanity's true military strength?" Young-Soo Han looked around the chamber, seeing fear, curiosity, and hope in hundreds of alien faces. "Before I answer that question, let me share some history that might surprise you." He activated a holographic display showing star maps of human space. The delegates gasped as they saw the scope of human expansion. "Humanity did not achieve faster-than-light travel recently," Young-Soo Han announced. "We've had it for over 200 years. During that time, we've established colonies in 47 star systems in this galactic arm alone." Commander Daeho Kim, now serving as humanity's chief diplomatic representative, stepped forward to continue the explanation. "Each of our colony worlds has its own defense fleet. The ships that defeated the Empire were from Earth's colonial defense network, not our main military." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. The speaker called for order repeatedly before the delegates settled down enough to listen. Dr. So-Young Lee approached the podium next. "We've been observing galactic civilization for over a century before making contact. We wanted to understand the political situation before revealing ourselves." "You've been spying on us?" demanded the representative from the hegemony of 12 Suns. "We've been learning," Daeho Kim replied diplomatically. "When we finally made contact, the Empire immediately demanded our surrender. We realized that peaceful coexistence might not be possible with the current galactic order." Captain Min-Soo Park activated another holographic display. This shows the comparative technology levels between human and Empire military systems. As you can see, the Empire's weapons and defenses are approximately 50 years behind our current capabilities. The numbers on the display caused another wave of shocked discussion. If the Empire, the galaxy's dominant military power, was so far behind human technology, what did that mean for everyone else? Lieutenant Hae-Jin Choi stepped forward with reconnaissance data. "During our conflict with the Empire, we discovered something troubling. Their military doctrine is based entirely on intimidation and overwhelming numbers. They haven't fought a real war in over a century." "What are you saying?" asked the Vorthak representative, one of the few Empire delegates still attending Congress. "We're saying the Empire kept peace through fear, not strength," Hae-Jin replied. "When that fear was broken, the entire system collapsed." Sergeant Bo Rayun had been analyzing intelligence from across the galaxy. "In the weeks since the Empire's defeat, we've recorded over 300 border conflicts, 17 system wars, and 42 pirate uprisings. The galaxy is descending into chaos." Young-Soo Han stepped back to the podium. "This is why we're here. Humanity doesn't want to conquer the galaxy, but we can't allow civilization to collapse into warfare." "So what do you propose?" asked the speaker. "A new order," Young-Soo Han replied. "Not based on fear and submission, but on mutual cooperation and protection." The Kelani ambassador leaned forward. "And humanity would enforce this new order?" "If necessary," Young-Soo Han said simply. "With how many ships?" demanded the representative from the Empire's core worlds. "We know you have more than 500 vessels." "How many?" Young-Soo Han exchanged glances with his colleagues. This was the moment of truth. "Before I answer that, let me ask you a question. How many ships do you think it would take to maintain peace in a galaxy of trillions of beings?" "Millions," someone called out. "Tens of millions," added another delegate. Young-Soo Han nodded. "You're probably right. Fortunately, humanity has been preparing for this responsibility for a long time." He activated the final holographic display. The chamber fell silent as the true scope of human military power was revealed. Earth's colonial defense network, which defeated the Empire, consists of approximately 500 ships, Young Soo-han began. Earth's actual defense fleet has 800 ships. The delegates looked confused. That wasn't much more than what they'd seen. However, Young Soo-han continued, Earth is just one of 47 human worlds in this galactic arm. Each colony has its own defense fleet of between 200 and 800 ships. The math hit the delegates like a physical blow. 47 colonies meant 20,000 ships, minimum. Additionally, Dr. So-Young Lee added, humanity maintains deep space exploration fleets, merchant marine vessels equipped for combat, and specialized military forces. In this galactic arm alone, Captain Min-Soo Park announced, humanity operates approximately 30,000 frontline warships. The silence in the chamber was absolute. 30,000 ships, each apparently superior to Empire vessels. But that's not all, Commander Dae-ho Kim said quietly. Humanity has similar colonial networks in 3 other galactic arms. The implications were staggering. If humans had 30,000 ships in just one arm of the galaxy, their total military might be over 100,000 vessels. Young Soo-han let the numbers sink in before continuing. Now you understand why we kept quiet for so long. We didn't want to destabilize galactic civilization with our presence. But you have anyway, whispered the Empire representative. Yes, Young Soo-han agreed, because the Empire forced our hand by attacking us. The speaker finally found his voice. Admiral Han, what are humanity's intentions toward the rest of us? Simple, Young Soo-han replied. We want peace. We want trade. We want to share knowledge and explore the galaxy together. But we will not allow any species to threaten human civilians. And we will not permit galactic civilization to collapse into chaos. Lieutenant Hai Jin Choi stepped forward with a prepared statement. To that end, humanity is offering protective services to any world or system that requests them. We're also offering technological assistance to help bring other species' defensive capabilities up to modern standards. And if we refuse? Asked the Empire representative. Then you refuse, Sergeant Boryun replied. We're not conquerors. But if you attack human worlds or our allies, you'll face the consequences. Young Soo-han looked around the chamber one final time. The galaxy has a choice. We can work together to build a better civilization, based on cooperation and mutual respect. Or we can maintain the old ways of conquest and intimidation. And if some species choose the old ways? The speaker asked. Then they'll discover why the Empire's 50,000 ships couldn't defeat 500 of ours. Young Soo-han said with quiet certainty. The session ended with most delegates requesting private meetings with the human representatives. Over the following weeks, treaties were signed, alliances were formed, and a new galactic order began to emerge. The Galactic Empire formally surrendered, agreeing to democratic reforms in exchange for human protection from their rebellious colonies. Dozens of species requested to join humanity's mutual defense network. Trade agreements flourished as aliens gained access to human technology. But perhaps most importantly, peace was maintained. The chaos that had threatened to engulf the galaxy after the Empire's collapse was contained by the simple knowledge that humanity had the power to enforce order, and the wisdom to use that power responsibly. As Admiral Young Soo-han stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital command station, watching alien ships dock peacefully at human ports, he reflected on how far they'd come. The galaxy had been terrified to learn that Earth's local defense fleet could destroy the Empire's greatest military force. They still didn't know about humanity's deep space reconnaissance fleets, their mobile shipyards, their automated defense platforms scattered throughout dozens of star systems, or their experimental weapons projects. Some secrets were still too dangerous to reveal, but perhaps that was for the best. Fear of the unknown was often more effective than fear of the known. The galaxy was safe, humanity was secure, and peace was maintained. For now, that was enough. News of the Empire's catastrophic defeat spread across the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. Within days, every major civilization knew that 50,000 Empire warships had been destroyed by 500 human vessels. The reaction was immediate and universal: panic. On the trade world of Kalani Prime, Ambassador Zixel called an emergency session of the Merchants' Council. The insectoid beings chittered nervously as they discussed the implications of the Empire's defeat. The humans destroyed 50,000 ships, Zixel announced to the assembled traders. 50,000. That's larger than our entire combined fleet. How is that possible? Asked Merchant Captain Keltar. The Empire has ruled the galaxy for 2,000 years. They're supposed to be invincible. Apparently not, Zixel replied grimly. We need to reconsider our alliance with the Empire. These humans might be the new power in the galaxy. Similar conversations were taking place on hundreds of worlds. Species that had bowed to Empire authority for centuries suddenly found themselves questioning their allegiances. If the Empire could be defeated so decisively, perhaps it was time to find new protectors. On Earth, Commander Daeho Kim was leading humanity's first diplomatic mission to the wider galactic community. His ship, the Soul's Pride, now carried a very different message than on its first voyage. Instead of seeking friendship, they were responding to desperate requests for meetings from dozens of alien governments. Sir, we have another delegation request, reported his communications officer. The Kalani Trade Federation wants to discuss mutual cooperation agreements. Daeho smiled. That's the 15th request today. Set up a meeting schedule. It seems everyone wants to be humanity's friend now. Dr. So-Young Lee was analyzing data from the captured Empire prisoners. High Admiral Vextar had been surprisingly cooperative once he understood the scope of his defeat. What she learned was both fascinating and concerning. Admiral Han, she said during their daily briefing, I think we've been underestimating the Empire's weakness. According to Vextar, that 50,000 ship fleet represented nearly 60% of their total military. Young Su Han looked up from his reports with interest. 60%? I thought they had millions of ships. They do, but most of them are patrol boats, system defense craft, and obsolete vessels. That fleet we destroyed was their main battle force. Lieutenant He-Jin Choi had been conducting reconnaissance missions throughout Empire space since the battle. What she found confirmed Dr. Lee's analysis. Sir, the Empire is falling apart. Half their member species are declaring independence. The other half are asking us for protection. Protection from what? Young Su Han asked. From the Empire's revenge, He-Jin replied. Apparently, the Empire leadership is so embarrassed by their defeat that they're taking it out on their own people. Harsh new taxes, military conscription, punishment raids on worlds that express any sympathy for humanity. Sergeant Bora Yoon was interrogating captured Empire officers in Earth's secure facility. The aliens were eager to talk, hoping cooperation might earn them better treatment. What they revealed painted a picture of an empire in crisis. The truth is, said former Captain Jelkos during one session, the Empire stopped being a real military power decades ago. We relied on fear and intimidation. When you proved we could be beaten, everything fell apart. What about your industrial capacity? Bora Yoon asked. You must have massive shipyards. We do, but they're mostly automated. The Empire hasn't built a new ship design in 50 years. We just kept making the same old models because they were intimidating enough. This information was troubling to Earth's military planners. If the Empire was weaker than expected, it meant the galaxy was less stable than anyone realized. Without the Empire's iron grip, how many other conflicts would erupt? The answer came sooner than expected. Within weeks of the Empire's defeat, old enemies began settling ancient grudges. Border wars erupted between species that had been kept in line by Empire authority. Trade routes became dangerous as pirates emerged from hiding. Several systems declared themselves independent kingdoms and began building their own fleets. Commander Daeho Kim found himself mediating disputes between alien civilizations that looked to humanity as the new galactic authority. We didn't ask for this responsibility, he told Admiral Han during a secure communication from the Kalani home system. I know, Young Su Han replied. But nature abhors a vacuum. The Empire created stability through fear. Now that they're gone, someone has to fill the void. Are we ready for that kind of responsibility? Young Su Han was quiet for a moment. Commander, there's something you need to know. Something we've kept classified until now. Daeho felt a chill of anticipation. Sir? The fleet that defeated the Empire wasn't our full military. It wasn't even our main military. Those 500 ships represented just the Earth Colonial Defense Network. What do you mean? Earth is just one of humanity's worlds, Commander. We have colonies throughout this galactic arm, each with their own defense fleets. What the Empire fought was essentially our local militia. Daeho stared at the communication screen in shock. How many worlds? 47 colony systems, each with between 200 and 800 ships. plus our deep space exploration fleets, our merchant marine, and our actual military forces. The implications hit Daeho like a physical blow. You're saying we have approximately 30,000 frontline warships plus support vessels. And that's just in this sector. We have similar forces in 3 other galactic arms. How long have we been hiding this? We haven't been hiding it, Young Soo Han corrected. We've been keeping quiet until we understood the galactic situation. The Empire never bothered to properly survey human space because they assumed we were just another primitive species. Dr. So-Young Lee had been listening to the conversation through the secure channel. Commander Kim, this changes everything. We're not just a new player in galactic politics. We're the dominant military power. Captain Min-Soo Park, now commanding the Earth Defense Fleet, added his own perspective. Sir, if the other species learn about our real capabilities, they'll either surrender immediately or unite against us out of fear. Young Soo Han nodded grimly. Which is why we need to handle this carefully. We don't want to rule the galaxy, but we can't let it descend into chaos either. Lieutenant Heijin Choi's voice came through from her reconnaissance ship. Admiral, I'm monitoring communications across Empire space. Some of their core worlds are talking about developing new weapons specifically designed to fight humans. What kind of weapons? Young Soo Han asked. Planet killers, sir. They think if they can destroy Earth, they can break human morale and win through terror. Sergeant Borayun looked up from her interrogation notes. That matches what our prisoners are saying, sir. The Empire leadership is convinced that humans are only dangerous because we're unified around our home world. Young Soo Han considered this information. The Empire was planning to escalate the conflict in ways that would threaten civilian populations. That changed the equation considerably. Commander Kim, he said finally, finish your diplomatic mission and return to Earth. It's time to reveal humanity's true situation to the galaxy. All of it, sir? Not all, but enough to make it clear that attacking human civilians would be a very bad idea. As Daeho Kim prepared to return to Earth, he reflected on how much had changed since humanity's first contact with the Galactic Empire. They had gone from a single exploring ship to the galaxy's dominant military power in less than a year. The question now was what to do with that power. The Empire was crumbling. Other species were looking to humanity for leadership, and conflicts were erupting across known space. Ready or not, humanity was about to become responsible for maintaining peace in a galaxy of trillions of beings, and they would have to do it while keeping secret. Just how overwhelming their military superiority really was, because if the galaxy ever learned that Earth's local defense fleet was actually just a tiny fraction of humanity's real military strength, the resulting panic might destroy interstellar civilization entirely. Some secrets, Young Soo Han reflected, were too dangerous to reveal all at once. High Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching 50,000 Empire warships drop out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. No world had ever seen such overwhelming power. Sir, we have arrived at the human system, reported his navigation officer with obvious pride. The fleet is in perfect formation. Vexitar smiled with cold satisfaction. Excellent. Open a channel to the human world. It's time to accept their surrender. The transmission reached Earth within minutes. Admiral Young Soo Han sat calmly in his command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the massive alien fleet. His staff worked quietly at their stations, showing no signs of panic despite facing impossible odds. Admiral, the alien commander is requesting communication, announced his communications officer. Put him through, Young Soo Han replied. Vextar's reptilian face appeared on the main screen, his expression full of arrogant confidence. Humans of Earth, I am High Admiral Vextar of the Galactic Empire. You see before you the might of 50,000 warships. Your resistance ends now. Captain Min-Soo Park, commanding the lead human vessel, opened his own channel. Hi, Admiral, I see you learned to count since our last meeting. 50,000 is definitely more than 500. Vextar's eyes narrowed. Mock me if you wish, human. Your tiny fleet cannot stand against the Empire's full might. Surrender now and your deaths will be swift. Young Soo Han leaned forward in his chair. How many ships do you think we have this time, High Admiral? Our sensors detect 500 human vessels. Even with your mysterious technology, you cannot defeat 100 to 1 odds. 500 ships, Young Soo Han mused. That does sound like terrible odds. For you, the alien commander laughed harshly. Your species' arrogance will be your doom. You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. Declined, Young Soo Han said simply, then cut the transmission. Dr. So-Young Lee monitored the alien fleet from her science station. Admiral, their ships are even more outdated than our prisoners described. Some of those designs are over 200 years old. What about their formation? Young Soo Han asked. Lieutenant Hae-Jin Choi, now commanding her own squadron, studied the tactical display. They're using standard Empire doctrine, sir. Massive wall formation, designed to intimidate rather than fight effectively. Sergeant Bo Ra-yoon checked her boarding team's equipment. Sir, if any of their ships survive the initial engagement, my teams are ready to capture them. Young Soo Han nodded to his staff. All ships, this is Admiral Han. Execute Battle Plan Omega. The human fleet began to move. 500 ships spread out in a complex three-dimensional formation that confused the Empire observers. Instead of forming a traditional battle line, the humans created overlapping spheres of coverage with interlocking fields of fire. Vextar watched the human fleet's movement with growing concern. What are they doing? That formation makes no tactical sense. His tactical officer studied the display frantically. Sir, I've never seen anything like it. They seem to be surrounding us. Impossible. They only have 500 ships. We have 50,000. But as the human fleet completed its deployment, Vextar realized the humans had somehow positioned themselves to attack from every direction at once. Despite being vastly outnumbered, they had achieved tactical superiority through superior positioning. Sir, the humans are powering up their weapons, reported the sensor officer. All ships, attack formation, Vextar commanded. Destroy the human fleet. The Empire fleet began its ponderous movement toward attack positions, but the human ships were already in motion, accelerating to speeds that should have been impossible for vessels of their size. Young Soo Han watched the tactical display with professional interest. Dr. Lee, initiate quantum coordination protocol. Acknowledged, Admiral. All human ships are now linked through quantum entanglement communication. Perfect coordination achieved. The battle began with a devastating human attack. 500 ships fired as one, their weapons coordinated with impossible precision. Each shot was calculated to hit the weakest point of an enemy vessel at the exact moment their shields were cycling. The first wave of Empire ships simply disappeared. Not destroyed in the traditional sense, but completely vaporized by weapons that seemed to ignore physical laws. Where moments before there had been massive warships, now there was only empty space and expanding clouds of particles. Report, Vextar shouted over the alarms filling his bridge. Sir, we've lost over 3,000 ships in the first exchange, his tactical officer reported with disbelief. The human weapons they're impossible. Meanwhile, the human fleet continued its deadly dance through space. Each ship moved with perfect coordination, sharing targeting data and tactical information instantaneously. They flowed around the Empire's return fire like water around rocks. Captain Min-Soo Park's ship executed a maneuver that defied physics, somehow changing direction without losing speed. His weapons found 3 Empire cruisers and disabled them with surgical precision. Target their engines and weapons, he ordered his crew. We want prisoners for intelligence gathering. Throughout the battle, human ships demonstrated capabilities that terrified the Empire forces. They moved faster than should be possible, fired weapons that penetrated any defense, and coordinated their attacks with inhuman precision. Lieutenant Hae-Jin Choi led her fighter squadron through the heart of the Empire formation. Her pilots moved like a school of fish, each aircraft supporting the others in perfect harmony. Empire fighters tried to intercept them, but found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. This is Dragon Leader, she transmitted to her squadron. Target the command ships. Take out their communications. Her fighters struck like lightning, their weapons disabling Empire command vessels faster than the aliens could respond. Without coordination, the massive fleet began to fall apart. Sergeant Bo Ra-yoon's boarding team struck captured ships with ruthless efficiency. Empire crew members found themselves facing armored humans who moved through their corridors like ghosts, appearing and disappearing at will. Bridge secured, she reported after taking control of an Empire dreadnought. Their crew is terrified. They keep asking how we're moving so fast. On the Eternal Dominion, Vextar watched his mighty fleet being systematically destroyed by an enemy that should have been helpless. Half his ships were gone, and the humans hadn't lost a single vessel. "Sir, they're using some kind of advanced AI system," his science officer reported desperately. "Their ships are sharing data faster than light speed allows. That's impossible." "Sir, I'm reading quantum entanglement signatures." "They're not using radio or subspace communication. They're using quantum physics to coordinate their attacks." Vextar stared at the tactical display in growing horror. The humans weren't just more advanced than the Empire had realized. They were generations ahead. Fighting them with conventional weapons was like attacking a modern army with stone spears. "Sir, incoming transmission from the human admiral," the communications officer announced. "Put him through," Vextar said quietly. Young-Soo Han appeared on screen, still sitting calmly in his command chair. Behind him, his crew continued working with professional efficiency. "Hi, Admiral, you have approximately 15,000 ships remaining. I suggest you surrender now." "How?" Vextar asked weakly. "How are you doing this?" "Superior technology, better training, and tactical coordination," Young-Soo Han replied. "The same advantages we had when your predecessor tried to conquer Earth with 500 ships. But 50,000 ships are just a larger target," Young-Soo Han finished. "Quantity without quality is meaningless. Surrender now and I'll stop the slaughter." Vextar looked around his damaged bridge. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Empire, was being destroyed by a force 1/100th its size. His officers stared at him desperately, waiting for orders that might save their lives. I surrender," he said finally. "Wise choice. Order your remaining ships to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded." As the surviving Empire ships began surrendering, Young-Soo Han opened a channel to Earth Command. "Mission accomplished. Enemy fleet neutralized. Total human casualties: 0 ships lost, minor damage to 12 vessels." Dr. So-Young Lee was already analyzing the quantum signatures from the destroyed Empire ships. "Admiral, their technology is even more primitive than we thought. They're still using fusion reactors instead of quantum cores." Captain Min-Soo Park surveyed the wreckage of what had been the Empire's greatest military force. "Think this will convince them to leave us alone?" Young-Soo Han considered the question. "Probably not, but it will certainly make them think twice about attacking us again." As human boarding teams secured the surviving Empire vessels, Vextar sat in his command chair, trying to understand what had happened. The Empire's invincible military had been crushed by a handful of human ships. What kind of species could build such advanced technology? And if this was just their local defense force, what was their real military capability? More importantly, how would the Empire survive when word of this defeat spread throughout the galaxy? Supreme Commander Thexmore sat in chains before the Galactic Council, trying to explain how his fleet of 500 ships had been destroyed by 50 human vessels. The other Empire leaders stared at him with cold disbelief. "You claim these humans have superior technology?" asked High Admiral Vextar, the Empire's supreme military commander. "How is that possible? They only achieved space travel recently." "I don't know how," Thexmore replied desperately, "but I saw it with my own eyes. Their ships moved like nothing I've ever seen. Their weapons cut through our shields like they weren't there." Vextar turned to address the council. "This is clearly the result of poor leadership and cowardice. No primitive species could defeat the Empire's military." Meanwhile, in a secret facility on Earth's moon, Lieutenant Heijin Choi was preparing for her most dangerous mission yet. Admiral Young-Soo Han had chosen her to lead a deep reconnaissance operation into Empire space. "Your job is simple," Young-Soo Han explained. "Get close enough to their core worlds to assess their true military strength. We need to know what we're really facing." Heijin nodded confidently. "The new stealth ship should be able to slip past their sensors." "How long do I have?" "Take as much time as you need. Just come back alive." Dr. So-Young Lee was working in her laboratory surrounded by captured alien technology. The Empire weapons and shields were impressive by galactic standards, but compared to human engineering, they seemed almost primitive. "It's fascinating," she told her assistant. "They've focused on making things bigger and more powerful, but they've ignored efficiency completely. A human destroyer has more actual firepower than one of their battleships." She pulled up a holographic display, showing the comparative capabilities of human and alien ships. "Look at this. Their plasma cannons use 10 times more energy than our quantum disruptors, but they do half the damage." In the prison facility, Sergeant Bo Ra-yoon was interrogating captured Empire officers. Most of them were still in shock from their defeat. But a few were starting to talk. "Tell me about the Empire's military structure," she said to a Vorthak captain named Zelkos. The alien looked around nervously. "Why should I help you? You're just going to destroy us anyway." "We're not conquerors," Borayun replied. "We just want to be left alone. But if the Empire keeps attacking us, we'll defend ourselves." Zelkos was quiet for a moment, then began to speak. "The Empire controls over 10,000 star systems. Each system has its own defense fleet. The core worlds have the main battle fleets. How many ships total?" "Millions," the alien whispered. "The Empire has been building ships for 2,000 years. Borayun felt a chill. Even with their technological advantage, could Earth stand against millions of enemy ships? Far from Earth, Haijin Choi's stealth ship moved silently through Empire space. She had been traveling for weeks, mapping military installations and recording fleet movements. What she found was both impressive and troubling. The Empire was vast. Hundreds of worlds, each with massive orbital shipyards, fleets of thousands of vessels patrolling trade routes, military academies training new officers. It was a civilization built for war and conquest. But she also noticed something else. The ships were old. Many of the designs she saw were decades or even centuries out of date. The Empire had grown comfortable with its dominance and stopped innovating. "Earth Command, this is Shadow 1, she transmitted on a heavily encrypted channel. "I'm approaching the Empire's capital system. The scale is impressive, but their technology really is outdated." Young Suhan's voice came back after a long delay. "Understood, Shadow 1. What about their response to our victory?" "That's the interesting part, sir. They're treating it like a minor setback. Most of the Empire doesn't even know about the battle. The leadership is calling it a local security incident. On the Empire capital world of Vorthak Prime, High Admiral Vextar was meeting with the Emperor himself. The ancient ruler had not left his palace in 50 years, preferring to control his empire through subordinates. "Tell me about these humans," the Emperor commanded in a voice like grinding stone. "A minor species that got lucky, Your Majesty. Thexmore was careless and they took advantage of it. I am assembling a proper force to deal with them." "How proper?" Vextar smiled with predatory satisfaction. 50,000 ships, Your Majesty. The largest fleet in Empire history. Even if these humans have some advanced weapons, they cannot stand against such numbers." The Emperor nodded slowly. "See that they don't. The Empire's reputation for invincibility must be maintained." Back on Earth, Commander Daeho Kim was meeting with world leaders in the United Nations building. The revelation that humanity was facing a galactic empire with millions of ships had caused panic in some quarters. "How can we possibly defend against such numbers?" asked the Secretary General. Daeho remained calm. "We have advantages they don't understand yet. Our technology is superior, our ships are more efficient, and our tactics are more flexible. But millions of ships? Numbers alone don't win wars." Young Suhan interjected from his seat at the table. "Quality matters more than quantity. One human ship is worth 10 of theirs." Dr. So Young Lee stood up to address the assembly. "I've been analyzing the Empire's industrial capacity. Yes, they have millions of ships, but most of them are obsolete. Their newest designs are still inferior to our oldest ones." "What do you recommend?" the Secretary General asked. Young Suhan looked around the room. "We prepare for the worst. The Empire will send a massive fleet to crush us. We need to be ready to show them that size isn't everything." In deep space, Haijin Choi watched as the Empire's revenge fleet assembled. Thousands of ships from across the galaxy converged on a staging area near the border of Empire space. She had never seen so many warships in one place. "Earth Command, this is Shadow 1. The Empire fleet it's huge. I count 47,000 ships so far and more are arriving every day." "Acknowledged, Shadow 1. Can you get detailed scans?" Haijin maneuvered her stealth ship closer to the massive fleet. Her sensors worked overtime recording ship specifications, weapon loadouts, and command structures. What she found was both encouraging and terrifying. The Empire had indeed assembled the largest military force in galactic history, but it was also a collection of outdated ships with confused command structures and poor coordination. They were relying on intimidation rather than tactical skill. "Earth Command, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is they have almost 50,000 ships. The good news is they're badly organized and using old technology." Young Suhan's reply came quickly. "Return to Earth immediately, Shadow 1. We need that intelligence for our planning." As Haijin Choi began her journey home, The Empire's massive fleet prepared to jump to human space. High Admiral Vexitar stood on his flagship's bridge, confident that no force in the galaxy could stand against such overwhelming numbers. "Set course for the human home system," he ordered. "It's time to end this rebellion once and for all." On Earth, Young-Soo Han was meeting with his senior staff. The intelligence from He-Jin Choi's mission had confirmed their worst fears and greatest hopes. The Empire was sending everything they had, but it was still technology from a previous generation. "How many ships can we field?" Dae-Ho Kim asked. Young-Soo Han smiled grimly. 500? 500 against 50,000? Those aren't good odds. "They don't need to be," Dr. So-Young Lee interjected. "We're not fighting a numbers game. We're fighting a technology war." Young-Soo Han nodded. "The Empire thinks they're sending an overwhelming force. What they're actually doing is putting all their eggs in one basket. When we defeat this fleet, the Empire will be crippled." "When we defeat it?" Dae-Ho Kim asked. "You sound very confident." "I am," Young-Soo Han replied. "Because they still don't understand what they're really fighting." Supreme Commander Thexmore stood in the war room of his flagship, studying the holographic display of his assembled fleet. 500 warships floated in perfect formation around the massive command vessel. It was the largest force the Empire had gathered in 50 years. "This should be enough to crush one primitive world," he muttered to his second-in-command. "The humans will regret their defiance." The journey to the human home system took 2 weeks. During that time, Thexmore broadcast messages throughout the Empire, telling everyone about the rebellious new species that dared to refuse submission. The story grew with each telling. By the time they reached Earth's solar system, the humans had become a dangerous threat that required the Empire's full attention. "Sir, we're approaching the target system," reported the navigation officer. Thexmore straightened his uniform and walked to the command center. "Excellent. Open a channel to all ships. It's time to make an example of these humans." The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Thexmore was pleased to see several small worlds orbiting the yellow star. After they destroyed the human military, those planets would make excellent mining colonies. "Sir, we're detecting ships approaching from the third planet," the sensor officer announced. "How many?" Thexmore asked. 50 ships, sir." Thexmore laughed. 50 against our 500? These humans are either very brave or very stupid. Admiral Young-Soo Han sat quietly in his command chair aboard the Earth defense ship Incheon. Around him, his crew worked with calm efficiency. They had trained for this day for months. "Sir, the alien fleet is taking position near the asteroid belt," reported his communications officer. "They're trying to contact us." "Put them on screen," Young-Soo Han ordered. Thexmore's reptilian face appeared on the main display. He looked very pleased with himself. "Humans of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Thexmore of the Galactic Empire. You have seen our fleet, 500 warships, each capable of destroying your entire planet. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick." Captain Min-Soo Park, commanding the destroyer Busan, opened his own channel. "Supreme Commander, I see you brought more ships this time. Did you learn something from our last meeting?" Thexmore's eyes narrowed. "You are the human from the diplomatic vessel. You will pay for your insolence." "Probably not," Min-Soo Park replied calmly. Young-Soo Han took control of the communication. "Supreme Commander, this is Admiral Young-Soo Han of Earth Defense Command. You have 10 minutes to leave our system peacefully. After that, we will consider you a hostile force." The alien commander's laughter echoed across the communication channel. "You threaten me? With 50 primitive ships against my battle fleet? Your species is insane." 10 minutes, Young-Soo Han repeated, then cut the transmission. Dr. So-Young Lee was monitoring the alien fleet from her position on the science vessel Seoul. "Admiral, I'm reading the same outdated technology we saw before. Their shields are at least 2 generations behind ours, and their weapons are even worse." "Acknowledged, Doctor. All ships prepare for combat. Remember your training." Lieutenant He-Jin Choi piloted her fighter from the carrier Daegu. She had volunteered to lead the first strike wing. "All fighters ready, Admiral." "Just give us the word." Young-Soo Han looked at his chronometer. "Time's up. All ships engage the enemy." The human fleet moved forward with precision that surprised the aliens. Instead of charging directly at the larger force, they spread out in a complex formation that made no sense to Empire tactical doctrine. Thexmore watched from his command center as the human ships approached. "Fire at will. Destroy them all. The Empire fleet opened fire with everything they had. Plasma beams and missile volleys filled space between the two forces. The humans seemed to be flying directly into certain destruction. Then something impossible happened. The human ships began dodging the weapons' fire with incredible accuracy. They twisted and turned through space like dancers, avoiding nearly every shot. The few hits that connected were absorbed by shields that seemed far too strong for such small vessels. "How are they moving like that?" Thexmore demanded. His tactical officer checked his instruments frantically. "Sir, their ships appear to be sharing targeting data in real time. They know where our weapons will hit before we fire them." Meanwhile, the human ships began their own attack. Their weapons were smaller than the Empire's massive guns, but they were devastatingly accurate. Each shot hit exactly where it would do the most damage. Captain Min-Soo Park smiled as his ship's weapons tore through an Empire cruiser's shields. "Target their weapon systems first. We want prisoners for questioning." The battle became a massacre, but not the way Thexmore had expected. His massive ships were too slow to track the human vessels, and their weapons couldn't penetrate the enemy's shields. Meanwhile, the humans carved through his fleet like a knife through paper. Sergeant Bo Rayun led her boarding team through the corridors of a captured Empire ship. The aliens had surrendered after their weapons and engines were destroyed. "Secure the bridge," she ordered. "I want their computers intact." On another captured vessel, human Marines found the crew hiding in their quarters. The reptilian aliens looked terrified of the armored humans. "Please don't kill us," one of them begged in broken standard language. "We're not here to kill anyone," Borayun replied through her helmet speaker. "But you attacked our home. Now you're prisoners of war." In space, the battle was nearly over. Of the 500 Empire ships, only 20 remained functional. The rest were either destroyed or disabled. The human fleet had not lost a single vessel. Thexmore stood on his damaged bridge, watching his dreams of conquest turn to ash. "How is this possible? We outnumbered them 10-1. His communications officer looked up from his damaged console. "Sir, the humans are demanding our surrender." Admiral Young-Soo Han's voice came over the communication system. "Supreme Commander Thexmore, your fleet is defeated. Surrender now and we will treat your survivors according to the laws of war." Thexmore wanted to fight to the end, but looking around his destroyed bridge, he knew it was hopeless. I surrender." "Wise choice. Have your remaining ships power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded." As human Marines took control of the Empire survivors, Young-Soo Han opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. Mission accomplished. Enemy fleet neutralized. Casualties: 0 human ships lost, minimal damage to 3 vessels. Dr. So-Young Lee was already analyzing the captured alien technology. "Admiral, this is fascinating. Their ships are built for intimidation, not combat effectiveness. All show, no substance." Lieutenant Heijin Choi landed her fighter back on the Daegu and climbed out of the cockpit. Her squadron had destroyed 15 Empire ships without losing anyone. "Their pilots fight like they expect the enemy to run away," she reported to her commander. Captain Min-Soo Park surveyed the wreckage of the Empire fleet. "Think they'll send more ships?" Young-Soo Han considered the question. "Probably. This was just their local response force. The real Empire military is probably much larger." Thexmore sat in a human holding cell, still trying to understand what had happened. His mighty fleet, the terror of 100 worlds, had been destroyed by a handful of human ships. What kind of species could build such powerful vessels and fight with such skill? More importantly, if these 50 ships could destroy 500 Empire vessels, what would happen when the Empire sent its real military forces? As the human fleet returned to Earth with their prisoners and captured ships, Young-Soo Han was already planning for the next attack. The Empire would not ignore this defeat. They would return with more ships, better weapons, and a desire for revenge. But Earth would be ready. Commander Daeho Kim stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the stars stretch into lines as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. After 300 years of dreaming about the stars, humans had finally built a ship that could reach them. This was their first contact mission to meet other intelligent life. "Sir, we're picking up massive energy signatures ahead," said Lieutenant Heijin Choi from her position at the sensors. "It looks like a fleet of ships. Really big ones." Daeho nodded calmly. They had expected this. Earth's long-range telescopes had detected signs of a spacefaring civilization in this sector. The plan was simple: Make peaceful contact, exchange greetings, and open trade relations. Open a communication channel, Daeho ordered. Let's introduce ourselves. Dr. So-Young Lee looked up from her science station. Commander, I'm reading some unusual energy patterns from those ships. Their technology is different from ours, but not necessarily more advanced. The main screen flickered to life, showing a reptilian face with cold yellow eyes. The alien wore what looked like a military uniform covered in medals and decorations. When it spoke, the translation system rendered its words in perfect Korean. I am Supreme Commander Thexmore of the Galactic Empire, the alien announced. You have entered our space without permission. Identify yourselves immediately. Daeho stepped forward with a diplomatic smile. Greetings, Supreme Commander. I am Commander Daeho Kim of the human vessel Soul's Pride. We come in peace, seeking to establish friendly relations between our peoples. Thexmore's eyes narrowed. Humans? We have no record of your species in our database. You are clearly a primitive race that has just discovered space travel. The Empire demands your immediate submission. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Daeho replied politely. We're not here to submit to anyone. We're explorers and diplomats hoping to learn about your civilization and share knowledge. The alien commander's face twisted into what might have been a smile, but looked more like a snarl. You do not understand your position, human. The Galactic Empire has ruled this galaxy for over 2,000 years. Every species bows to our authority. You will surrender your vessel immediately and prepare for processing. Captain Min-Soo Park stepped beside Daeho. Sir, I'm reading weapons charging on their ships. 20 vessels, all much larger than ours. Dr. So-Young Lee's fingers flew over her console. Commander, their weapon signatures are primitive compared to our defensive systems. Plasma-based energy weapons, probably effective against most materials, but our new quantum shielding should handle them easily. Daeho turned back to the screen. Supreme Commander, we have no intention of surrendering. Perhaps we can discuss this peacefully. Thexmore's laugh was like grinding metal. Peaceful? You dare refuse the Empire? Your single primitive ship against our battle fleet? You will learn the price of defiance. The communication cut off. Immediately, the space around Soul's Pride lit up with energy beams from the alien ships. Daeho watched calmly as the weapons struck their shields, creating brilliant flashes of light but no damage. Shields holding at full strength, reported So-Young Lee. Their weapons aren't even depleting our energy. Reserves. Thexmore's face reappeared on screen, now showing confusion and anger. Impossible! Our plasma cannons can destroy a moon. What kind of shielding do you have? The kind that works, Min-Soo Park replied with a grin. The alien ships began moving into attack formation. Daeho could see they were preparing to fire some kind of larger weapon. The lead ship, easily 10 times the size of Soul's Pride, began charging what looked like a massive cannon. Sir, that's a planet-killer weapon, Hae-Jin Choi reported. Our sensors show it's designed to crack planetary crusts. Can our shields handle it? Daeho asked. So-Young Lee checked her readings. Probably, but I'd rather not test it with a diplomatic vessel full of civilians. The massive weapon fired. A beam of pure destruction lanced toward their ship. The quantum shields absorbed it completely, converting the energy into power for their own systems. Their planet killer just recharged our batteries, So-Young Lee announced with satisfaction. On the screen, Thexmore looked genuinely shocked. This is impossible. No known technology can withstand a graviton lance. Daeho decided it was time to leave. Lieutenant Choi, did you get full scans of their fleet? Yes, sir. Complete tactical analysis, weapon specifications, shield frequencies, everything. Good. Captain Park, plot a course back to Earth. Best speed. Min-Soo Park's hands moved over the navigation controls. Ready to jump, sir. As Soul's Pride prepared to leave, Daeho opened the communication channel one last time. Supreme Commander Thexmore, we came here seeking friendship. Instead, you chose violence. We're leaving now, but this won't be forgotten. You cannot escape the Empire, Thexmore shouted. We will follow you to your homeworld and destroy every last human. You're welcome to try, Daeho said quietly, then nodded to Park. Soul's Pride jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the alien fleet behind. The trip back to Earth took 3 days. During that time, the crew analyzed everything they had learned about the Galactic Empire. Sir, Hae-Jin Choi reported, based on their ship designs and weapon technology, I estimate the Empire is about 50 years behind us in military technology. Their advantage is numbers and experience, Dr. So-Young Lee added. Their materials science is particularly weak. Those big ships look impressive, but they're built for intimidation, not efficiency. Captain Park was studying star charts. The Empire controls a lot of space, Commander. If they decide to attack Earth, they could bring thousands of ships. Deho nodded grimly. Then we need to be ready. When Sol's Pride reached Earth orbit, Deho immediately reported to Earth Defense Command. Admiral Young Soo-han listened to the full report without interruption. So they see us as a threat to their authority. Young Soo-han said finally, "Yes, sir." Thexmore made it clear that the Empire doesn't accept independent species. They conquer or destroy. The Admiral looked out at Earth through his office window. "How long do you think we have?" "Not long." Their ships were fast and they seemed very confident. "I expect them to attack within months." Young Soo-han smiled, but it wasn't a pleasant expression. "Then we'll show them what humans are capable of." "Good work, Commander. Get some rest. You'll be needed for the planning sessions." As Deho left the Admiral's office, he wondered if Earth was ready for war with the Galactic Empire. They had better technology, but the Empire had size and experience. The next few months would determine whether humanity joined the galactic community as equals or as slaves. Outside the space station, Earth turned slowly in the darkness, peaceful and unaware that its first contact with alien life had just declared war on the human race.